for our yin practice today, we're going to start with a chest opener. A lot of times when you've been overexerting and the shoulders get tight, and we kind of create this armor around us. So we want to instead be able to open the chest. In order to do this, we want to create a little structure. And if you have a bolster, I'll give you different examples so you can see. If you have a bolster, we're going to come into a supported Supta Baddha Konasana. So you can take one of your blocks, put it under your bolster, like so. You can always use a blanket as a little pillow on top of your bolster. And then what you're going to do is just gently come down on your back, like so. And let your knees open out to the side, feet together. Or you can just bend your knees and put your feet flat on the floor. If you don't have a bolster, you can kind of sort of do the same thing with a pile of blankets. So imagine if these are just a bunch of blankets, and instead of just doing it on top of your block, you would create a little structure like this, put an extra blanket on top, and then just come all the way down so that your chest is open. The intention is to get the chest open. So however you can do, you can put pillows underneath your back. If you don't have any pillows or blankets, or maybe you just have one blanket, you can also do the same thing where you roll up the blanket like so, and that rolled up blanket goes alongside of your spine. You come all the way down here. And then I like to put something else under my head so my chin is not lifted. So any one of those three options, please find your comfortable Supta Baddha Konasana. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in and let go of the entire week. Whatever happened this week or didn't happen this week, or whatever is going to happen this weekend, just let it go. And then as you find your breath in this moment, notice how that breath can anchor you to this present moment. And as you do that, can you do this without any sort of adding extra work for yourself? What do I mean by that? A lot of times when we try and find the present moment, even we get tethered even to that present moment. Like, how am I supposed to do this? What's the best way to do this? Am I breathing correctly? Am I doing this correctly? Can you just let all that go and sort of surrender to this moment exactly the way it is? So even if you're feeling any sort of discomfort or pain, any body parts, any lingering tension in the shoulders or the jaws, instead of judging it or getting attached to the feeling of it, can you just be at peace and almost like welcoming every sensation? And you know that in our yin practice, I like to just take moments of pause and quietness. So if I don't say anything for a period of time, it's not that I'm neglecting you or I'm not falling asleep here. I'm just allowing you to really tune in to your own feelings and sensations. Connection again with your breath. Each time you find your mind wandering, just notice that that's just a thought and let it pass by. Just imagine it's like the waves on top of the ocean. The waves come and go. No two waves are ever the same. Let the waves of your thought come and go. As you're ready, gently begin to blink your eyes open. And then put your feet flat on the floor. Let your knees knock in towards each other. Take your arms overhead, interlace your fingers, and then turn your palms away from the top of your head. And gently stretch out your upper arms, your armpits, your shoulders, your back. If you like to, you can begin to reach the arms straight above your head. Take a nice deep breath in as if you're just waking up from a long nap. And then as you exhale, release the hands down, bring it all the way down towards the floor. Roll over to one side and then gently press yourself up. Just come up nice and slowly so you're not really interrupting this beautiful peace that you're in right now. And then go ahead and turn all the way towards your structure. So my structure is the same, nothing has changed. All I'm going to do is take my feet to either side of my structure and then move a little bit closer if you can. Take a nice deep breath in and then bring your elbows down to the structure. So again, if you don't have the bolster, you can just pile up a bunch of blankets, put them or pillows on top of one another, just enough so that your elbows can come down without struggling. And then drop the head down. Let the back of your neck get super long. Now you're feeling that nice stretch in the low back. So if it helps and you want to give yourself a little bit of a massage, take your hands to your kidneys and just kind of work your hands around the kidneys and down. So we have these glands called the adrenal glands right on top of our kidneys. And a lot of times when we are super busy and overworking these adrenal glands, it actually transfers into a low back pain, right? So just kind of massage that area, maybe rub it a little bit, maybe coming down to your QL muscles and out towards the hips. Just a nice self-massage. This self-massage is called Abhyanga in Ayurveda. So you can do a lot of self-massage with sesame oil or different kind of oils. And then as you're ready, just come back down, bring your forehead down and notice that you can maybe lean forward a little bit deeper. It's really magical how our bodies respond to relaxation or letting go. The muscles naturally open up. One more deep breath in, this time sending your breath all the way down to your tailbone. And exhale, sigh it out. And then gently press yourself all the way back up, please. And whichever side you're in, actually let's everybody start on the left. So bring your left thigh to your structure. Your right thigh can rest on top. And then you're just gonna drape your torso over to the structure, bringing your forehead or left ear down on your pillow or blanket. You can just stay here, or you can take your right knee to the bottom of that left foot. That kind of deepens the stretch in the hip flexor a little bit, and let that right knee drop down to the floor. If you feel like the right knee is up here, just bring the knees together, or you can always take your second block and put it in between the knees. We're not going to stay here that long, so just get really nice and comfortable. Just a moment. Breathe into that right side. If you like to add on to the stretch, you can take the right arm above your head and just drape that over your head. Make sure that feels okay with the shoulder. And as your right leg opens up, breathe into it. Nice deep inhalation into the right lung and right rib cage. And all the muscles, the intercostal muscles between the ribs. And maybe the right shoulder. And notice if you're holding any body part up. Sometimes we just unintentionally hold the shoulders or hold that hip. And you just let it melt for one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. And then you're just going to simply roll over to the other side. I'm just going to move my structure just so you can see me better. But all you need to do is move over to the other side. And we're going to repeat this gentle pose, restorative pose on the other side. So I'm going to bring my right ear down to the floor. Your knees can be stacked, or you can take your left knee behind the right heel. And if you want to, you can raise the left arm overhead. And then as you close your eyes again, really think about the left lung and opening into that left side body. Your spleen lives on this side, which is such an important blood reservoir. So when we need blood, the spleen releases it into our system. So really smile at your spleen, send it a little nice thankful gratitude for doing what it's supposed to do all the time without us really having anything to do with it. So breathe into that nice, it may help to actually put a smile on your face, just sending some nice loving thoughts to the spleen and the left lung. Nice deep inhale and exhale. And then super slowly, you're going to slowly come out of the pose. So press yourself up, please. Put your structure to the side for now. We're going to move a little bit just to get the blood flowing. Come up to tabletop pose, please. Hands and knees. Take a nice deep breath in. Lift the chest up. Send the tail back behind you. Exhale, pull the belly in, round the back as you take your hips to your heels. Inhale, coming all the way back up and forward. Step the left foot in between your hands. And then just come into a nice low lunge. Take your left hand to the outside of the left knee as you twist your torso over to the left. Nice and easy, deep stretch on that right hip flexor. And then gently bring that left hand down. Send the left leg back behind you. Bring the right foot in between your hands. As you come into low lunge, let the hips melt a little bit. You may even do it like not really actively, so really passively letting that left hip melt. And then take the right hand to the outside of the right knee as you twist your torso open to the side. Breathe into whatever tension you may be feeling. Exhale, coming back to the center. Right hand comes down. One more movement here. Take that left leg back behind you. Point the toe. And then do these nice big circles with that left leg. So entire leg moving in the hip socket. And make that leg really straight and strong and reaching towards the opposite wall. And then reverse it. The circles can be as small or as big as you want to. I just want you to see if you can keep the leg straight. So try not to bend the knee. Straighten the leg and then reach back towards you, towards the opposite wall. And then bring that right knee down. Extend the left leg, right leg out, whichever leg you didn't do before. And then just go ahead and rotate that entire leg in the hip socket. So even visualize that a little bit, right? So the hips are ball and socket joint, and you have this femur bone, the thigh bone, that sits nicely in that socket. So imagine that head of the femur just circling and lubricating that hip socket as you're doing this with a straight leg. And then bring the right knee down, please, and we're going to get ready for our next pose. So next pose is going to be a supported sphinx. If you have a bolster, you can take the bolster and just put it on your blanket or on your mat, and then your rib cage. See, the rib cage is resting on the bolster, and you bring your arms in front of the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can do this with a bunch of pillows, or you don't even need the bolster. You can just come into a sphinx pose without the bolster. But I would suggest that you take one of your blocks and put it under your head. So you really want the head and shoulders to just be soft. Normally when we do an active sphinx pose, we really lift the chest up like this. And then, you know, the shoulders, the arms are active, pressing down. But this time I want the shoulders to be soft and the forehead resting on something. So any of those options would work for you. Please find the pose. I'm going to use my bolster, resting my rib cage on top of the bolster, elbows down onto the floor. And then everybody just kind of wiggle your bum side to side. Make sure that the hips are not squeezed. So just make sure the hips are really soft. We're going to stay here for 3 minutes. I'm going to keep the time for you. Let the head drop. Nice deep breaths into your backside. Take a nice deep breath into the ribs. And now, especially if you have something underneath the ribs, you'll notice how much you can actually open up with each breath. So nice inhale in, feel the ribs expand, pressing against your bolster. And exhale out of an open mouth. And again, just use that breath as an anchor, not something to be tethered to, or not something to create yet another obligation or a way of improving or a way of making better or a way of competition, but something natural that you recognize happens without even us noticing, right? So the breath happens without even us really thinking about it. But when we do notice it, what a wonderful way to find that connection to this moment and finding the sensations in the body and recognizing that everything that is happening right now is just a condition of consciousness. So the breath comes and goes, the thoughts come and go. Even the sounds from the outside really happen without any control of us. A nice inhalation and exhale. And then take your hands wide apart from each other, maybe as wide as your mat, and gently begin to press yourself up to a little bit of a higher cobra. This time your gaze can be front. If it feels good on your neck, you can open up your throat. Let the jaws open wide. You can bring your teeth together like you're doing a little fake smile, like you do for your dentist, and just kind of rub it against each other. And inhale, lift the chest a little bit higher. Feel that nice stretch in the front of your throat. Open the jaws as wide as you can. And then exhale and release. Take your hands and bring them all the way to your torso as you take your hips back to your heel. So keep the structure that you've created right here. And if you don't have a structure, then take 2 blocks and put it, I'll show you, 2 blocks and put it next to each other like so. And if you're going to come into a child's pose, but we're going to really get into stretching out the back side of our arms. So your elbows are going to go on top of your structure, either on the bolster or on blocks. And then you're just going to drop your head in between your structure, or you can bring your head down on your bolster, bend your elbows back, and the thumbs come to the base of your neck. So your hands are in like prayer pose, and you're just letting the head melt in between your arms. If you're using a bolster, it's going to look like so. And so your forehead can rest on the bolster. So essentially the block is a little bit juicier, a little bit deeper stretch on the triceps. So we're going to stay here for a couple minutes. This is also a very good stretch for your trapezius muscles and the latissimus dorsi right on long side of your upper back. Let the head drop once again. And if you find that your hips are really lifted off the ground, you can always put a blanket in between your hips and your heels. Inhale and exhale. And then gently press yourself all the way up, please. Let's move once again, putting your blocks to the side. And this time, as you are ready, bring your knees to the top of your mat and put your feet all the way down so you come into this kind of a malasana position. Your hands can be either on the floor or on blocks. Take a nice deep breath in, lift the hips up. So coming into forward fold, my knees will stay bent the whole time. And then I'm going to bend my knees again and come into malasana. And then inhale, lift the hips up. As you drop the head down, exhale, let the breath go, exhale it out. And inhale, sit into malasana, garland pose, and look up. And 2 more times. Exhale, drop the head down as you come into forward fold. Each time you notice that you can straighten your knees just a little bit more. Inhale. Your body loves these kind of repetitive movements. Exhale. And one last one, inhaling, lift. And exhale and fold. And then if we're gonna hold it here. So make sure the toes are pointing forward and the knees are pointing forward. Your feet are at least hip width apart. And then you can grab opposite elbows, drop the head down, lean your weight a little bit more towards the ball of your feet instead of the heels. And you feel a nice stretch not only in the hamstrings, but also in your glutes and the low back. So really let the head drop. Let the weight of your arms and head work with gravity to stretch the low back and the hips and the hamstrings. And then as you're ready, halfway up, take your right foot in front and left foot back behind you. Bring the left knee down to the floor, please. And heel toe that right foot closer and closer to your groin. So the right knee is going to come in between your hands. So for this one, I really would like to suggest to put a bunch of blankets under your right thigh. Okay, so your entire right thigh, so my entire right leg from the knee to the hip is going to be on a blanket or maybe several blankets. And then that left leg can go back, stretch it back behind. If you're a little bit more flexible and would like to try, you can always take a block and put it under your thigh and then reach the left toes towards the back and bring the top of your left foot down onto the floor. Inhale, lift the chest up, and exhale and fold forward. So if you've got the block under your thigh, kind of roll that hip down towards your mat and press the outer edge of your right knee, your right shin and right ankle down to the floor. So really glue that down. And you'll notice that then it feels okay on your knee. So sometimes, for some people, this is really lovely and they can stay here for half an hour. Some people is like impossible, right? So just gotta be kind with that right hip. You might want to take your right hand knuckles and just kind of massage that right hip a little bit. We're really trying to get a space, get an opening in that right hip. This piriformis muscle is one of the two muscles that connects the torso to the legs, and it kind of runs, it's not like a typical muscle where it runs up and down, it just kind of runs sideways. So it gets really, really tight in that hip. But the best way to stretch it out is just staying with it and taking nice deep inhales and exhales, and just maybe even like you did with your spleen, even smile. Sometimes smiling helps. Smiling to yourself, smiling to your heart, smiling to your hip, to the piriformis. Whatever you do, make sure that the shoulders, when we get scared or fearful, the shoulders come up to the ears. So that's a signal to your body that something is not right and it needs to do something to protect you. So let your shoulders be soft. Let them just fall away. Your shoulders are not involved in this pose at all. They can just rest. Give them permission to rest. One more deep breath here. And then gently begin to press yourself up. And as you move your structure out of the way, do whatever organically your body wants to do. So take that right knee back. Maybe you like to take that right leg and do little circles to send some blood back in there. Maybe you like to just shake it out. Maybe you like to come up to downward facing dog. So whatever works for you, go ahead and do that. Maybe you like to wag your tails a little bit side to side. And no rush, but whenever you're ready, step the left foot in between your hands, and then heel toe that left foot closer and closer to your groin area as you bring the left knee down to the floor. Take your blanket and sit all the way from the knee to the hip on the blanket. And then if you like to, you can take your block and put it under your right quadricep, your right thigh. Tuck your right toes under, send that right leg back behind you a little bit deeper, and then untuck your toes. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, fold forward. And then as you fold forward again, just go through the mechanics real quick in your mind, or actually not even quick, take your time, but just go through the mechanics. You want to press the outside edge of that left knee down, the shin down, and the left ankle. And your right leg is reaching back behind you as you're melting the right hip down towards your mat. And if you like to, you can stack your hands, bring your forehead down to your hands, or maybe you can have soft fist, or you can even put a pillow under your forehead. And if you like to, you can take your knuckles to that left hip and just kind of little massages to that very, very important muscle in your body. Just kind of give it a little bit of a, hey, I know you're there. I appreciate everything you're doing. Kind of a rub, as if you're rubbing the shoulder of someone you love, to let them know that you really appreciate what they're doing and you love having them in your life. Do the same thing with your piriformis. And then once you're ready, just relax your head down and breathe. 2 minutes. When you come into this pose, notice if you're actually squeezing that hip. So the more you relax it, the more you are able to stretch it. Initially, our body wants to, the minute we get into a pose, it just wants to tense up just to protect itself. There's nothing wrong with that. But you want to let it know that it's in a safe environment, it's secure, it can release, it can let go. Keep breathing into that left hip. And then gently press yourself up on your hands. Take that left leg back. And whatever organically comes to you, whatever your body needs in this moment, you can wag your tail a little side to side. Maybe doing some cat-cows feel good. Inhale and exhale. You can take that leg out and shake it out. And then as you're ready, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up into your downward facing dog. Keep the knees bent, please. We're just gonna move a little bit nice and easy. Inhale, float the right leg all the way up. Exhale. Bring the right knee to your chest, step the right foot in between the hands. Inhaling into your low lunge, drop the left knee down. Exhale, take your hips back to your heel, flex the right toes. Your toes are dorsiflexing towards your shin, so really flex those toes. Inhale, lower the toes down, tuck the left toes under, pick up the left knee off the ground, take your left hand on the inside of the right foot. As you reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, inhaling, reach it up. Exhale, lower the right hand down, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float the left leg all the way up. Exhale, draw the left knee to your chest, step the left foot in between your hands. Inhaling, low lunge, lift the chest up, drop the knee down, exhale into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Flex the left toes towards your shin, lift the chest, inhale and exhale, fold towards your half split. Lower the left toes down, please. Tuck your right toes under, right knee comes off the ground, right hand next to your left foot, reaching the left arm up and twist it all the way up. Look up to your thumb. Inhale and exhale. Lower that hand down and step the left foot back. Inhaling, float the right leg all the way up. Exhale, step the right foot in between your hands. Spin your back foot flat. Bring the right hand behind your right foot as you reach the left arm all the way up and over. Extended side angle pose. Exhale. Lower the hand down and step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, send the left leg all the way up. Exhale, step the left foot in between your hands. Spin the back foot flat, left finger to behind the left foot, reaching the right arm up and over, extended side angle on this side. Stretch out the right side and exhale. Lower the hand down and step the left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale here. As you exhale, bend the knees, walk, jump or float your feet to your hands. Inhaling, halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale and fold forward. Drop the head down, grab opposite elbow, sway your torso side to side. And then gently begin to bend your knees, drop the hips down. Extend your legs forward. Take your blanket and make a little roll of it, please. For our next pose, that rolled up blanket is going to go under your left knee. Take the right knee all the way across your body. So the right knee is on top of the left knee. You can always put blocks or another pillow or blanket in between the knees. You can also take a block, put it on top of your left shin. Inhaling, lift the chest, and exhale, you're going to fold forward, bringing your forehead down on top of the block. You may not, many of you may not need the block. So you can either change the height of the block or just put the block to the side. You can stack your hands and drop your head down. And then pause here. Breathe into that left posterior chain of your body, all the way from your hamstring through the back and the neck. One more breath in, please. Inhaling and exhale. And then lift the torso up nice and slowly. Extend the right leg out. Right knee rests on top of your blanket. Left knee all the way across your body. Left knee stacks on top of the right knee. Again, use of a block would be great here. Or you can put it on your shin. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale and come forward. Rest your forehead on the block, or if you don't need it, you don't need it. So do whatever your body needs right now. I'm a little bit tighter on this side, so I'm going to use the block on this side. I'm just going to pause here and just relax my right knee on top of my rolled up blanket. Inhale and slowly come on all the way up, please. For our next pose, your rolled up blanket is going to go on your thoracic spine. So right up behind the chest area. You're gonna take that blanket, and I like to make sure that the fringe is on the inside of my roll so it doesn't bug me. Just gonna make a nice tight roll of this. And you can do this with any blanket. It just depends on how thick you need that blanket to be. So you may not need to play with this a little bit, make sure that it's not too thick. What I mean by that is that as you come down, your thoracic spine, upper back is going to be resting on top of your blanket. And once you lay down, you definitely want the shoulders to be able to come down. So if you are like this, it's too high, okay? So that's a no. And if it's all the way on your kidneys, that's a little too low. So you want it to be right behind the chest, like so, but you want to be able to extend the arms out to the side comfortably. So, and then I'm going to take my other blocks, or you can take pillows, and you're going to bring the soles of your feet together and let the outside of the knees rest on the blocks. The elbows are out to the side like goalposts, and you're really opening through this whole chest area. So if you go here and you feel like, oh, this is too edgy, too much, because we're going to stay here for about like 3 minutes. So make sure you come out of the pose and make that roll a little bit thinner, not so high. And then get back in there with me. And close your eyes. We're halfway through this already, so just let your knees rest on something. If it's not on the blocks, you can put blankets or pillows under the knees. And again, really just breathe. Imagine that you're receiving some love through the left palm, and that love is transporting itself all the way to your heart, to the center of your chest, and then coming all the way out of the right palm, and then send it to someone you really love. And then do the same thing again. Now receive love from your right hand, having it transport all the way, traveling all the way to your heart center, and then going all the way out to the left arm, the left palm, and send it to someone you love. And then imagine, visualize some light, receiving light through the left hand, all the way through your arms, and feel your entire chest lighten up with this beautiful glistening light, glowing, and then transporting it all the way through the right and out to the right hand, send it to the entire community. And then receive some light through the right hand, bring it all the way through the center of your chest, fill up your entire chest with this bright, beautiful, glowing light, and then send the light all the way out through the left hand and send it to the entire state you live in. You can just play with that over and over, sending it to the world, sending it to the universe, whatever resonates with you. If this feels good and you want to stay here, please do. Otherwise, you're ready for your Shavasana. So gently begin to roll over to one side, please. Nice and slowly. You've been here for a little bit. Just halfway press yourself up. And I'm just going to suggest that you take up your rolled blanket and put it under your knees. This feels good for your low back. You can always take another blanket, put it under your head, or you can take a block and put it under your head, just so you have the back of your neck lengthening, and then let the palms be open towards the ceiling, and just close your eyes. Let your entire body sink into your mat. Let your breath be completely natural. Feel the pulsation in the palms of your hand. Feel the sensation in your entire body. And if you're still playing with that light in your heart, maybe you can see the light flowing down to your belly and the hips, and flowing down all the way to your right knee and right ankle and right foot, so that your entire right side is lit up. And then you see the light traveling down to your left hip and left knee and left ankle, and the entire left side of your body is lit up. And you're this beautiful, glowing being, unique manifestation of universe's energy, here, present, grounded, centered, and from this place of centered groundedness, you are the most powerful. As you're ready, gently begin to deepen your breath. Draw one knee to your chest and then the other knee to your chest. Rock a little bit side to side, noticing which nostril you're breathing out of a little bit easier. Roll over to that side, pause for a moment. And then with the strength in your top arm, press yourself to a comfortable seat, please. Bringing your hands to the heart center. Thank you so much. It's always my honor and pleasure to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful week or weekend, whenever it is that you're doing this practice.